Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't wanna miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
All right, what's good, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Live Wire Sports Media. And so yesterday I did a video on Stephanie White. She talked about the playing style of the Indiana Fever, and she talked about also what they could do with Caitlin Clark, building her strength and stuff. And she did this with sports media with Richard Deitsch, if I'm pronouncing his name right. And so when I did the video, I said I was going to do a part 2 to that video, and today I'm going to do the part 2 to it. Like I said yesterday, I did the first part where, you know, everybody started freaking out about Caitlin Clark playing off ball and all of that stuff. And I broke it down in a number of ways where it's going to be beneficial. Caitlin Clark is not being coached by Chrissy Sides. She's being coached by Stephanie White, who knows pretty much what she's doing. And it's not going to be the same off-ball style as it was with there. And somebody in my comments on my first video, they broke it down to where how Caitlin was playing off-ball in Iowa. And I appreciate you for commenting, bringing that to light. So nevertheless, fast forward to today. Stephanie White continued to talk about the Indiana Fever and can they be championship contenders? And plus, can the Fever, you know, how the Fever, I guess, could extreme out the noise and how to deal with Caitlin Clark popularity. So I want to break that down and give y'all a little listen. So here we go.
The other day, who knows I'm a women's basketball fan, they said the Fever had a better offseason than the Mets, which is pretty funny because the Mets got Juan Soto. Is it realistic to say that this team is a title contender in 2025?
I mean, I think on paper, certainly. You know, you look at it and look, our goal was to bring in experience, to bring in players that can complement our big three. You know, I didn't know that we would be able to build the depth that we were able to build in year one. You know, I thought that was going to take a little bit more time. You know, so we're very fortunate. And I think each player that we brought in complements, you know, what we have already in a tremendous way. And each player that we brought in is at a different point in their career. And so they understand what it takes to put a championship caliber team together. Now, it's our job as coaches. We got to build chemistry quickly. You know, we've got to find rotations, right? We've got to find out which groups can play best together. We've got to find out how to make our team and each individual player as efficient as possible throughout 4 quarters and throughout 44 games. Look, we've got 4 more games than we had a year ago in the same time frame, right? No Olympic break. And so we've got to be able to get a rotation. And I think for me, that's one of the things I'm most excited about. You know, 2 years in Connecticut, we couldn't find a rotation. Our starters had to play heavy minutes. And I think at times in 4th quarters or throughout the end of the season, you know, you could tell that a little bit because our efficiency dipped. We've got a lot of great offensive weapons that we've got to put in positions to be successful. We've got to get better on the defensive end of the floor. And so now with the roster that we have, we got to challenge our coaching staff right now to find out what that is, because it's going to be different than I think what we had originally planned because of the personnel. So do I think we can be title contenders? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to all come together right away in May? No, it's going to take time. You know, there's always that element of luck to stay involved and stay healthy, right? Stay healthy and be peaking at the right time. But it's a challenge that I'm excited about, that we're excited about. I'm also incredibly excited about not just the players that we brought and the production that they can bring on the court, but the players we brought that fit our locker room, right? Good culture players who understand sacrificing for one another for the betterment of the team.
Now, she alluded to chemistry, and she believes that the Fever can be a championship team. Like all teams come together through free agency to build a team to win championships. And quite naturally, it does look good on paper. But the execution, everybody has to be aligned. Everybody has to be on the same page. Everybody has to have the same mindset, from the GM, from the president, from the coaches, from to the players. Everybody has to be on the court. Everybody has to play their role. Just like Bill Belichick used to say over there in New England, do your job. If everybody comes in and do their job, this could be a smooth transition. Is going to take a few weeks before they kick in? Yeah, because everybody got to figure out. You don't know what you have. You don't know how you're going to execute certain plays. You don't know how you're going to insert certain lineups until you see it out on the floor. Especially training camp is not going to tell you too much, but preseason could give you an indication. But then when you go into game season, it's going to take a few games to mesh. Just like when LeBron went over there to Miami, it didn't take them right away, but eventually they got the ball rolling. And like Stephanie White said, they have 44 games this year, not 40. So they have a little bit more time to figure it out. But I do believe with no Olympic break, they are able to really put a lot of things into play for this team. Now, she also alluded to locker room, good culture. Now, one of the most controversial signings the Indiana Fever did this season is the Bree Turner situation. I didn't do a video on it, and I was going to do a live. And frankly, I'm working on an article on it. So therefore, I think that's going to be my outlet to the situation. I'm working on an article for that instead of doing a video or a live on it. So that article probably get posted in, probably today or tomorrow. But nevertheless, with all the pieces that they have brought over, teams are going to have a little bit of players are going to have some kind of controversial signing with a team. It's just the nature of the business. You got to make sure that your locker room is on the same page, because even though we dealt with a lot of the stuff dealing with Nalissa Smith last year, the team was still able to make the playoffs. Could they win more games last year? Yeah, they should have. But you have a coach that don't know how to utilize none of her players. And that's from Caitlin Clark, Leo Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Nalissa Smith, Katie Lou Samuelson, all of them. Even Dantes. Christy Sides did not know how to use none of her personnel. I do believe that the players figured it out themselves. You know what I'm saying? And they had to really understand their role, and they all had to be mature enough to say, okay, we got to get this together. Nalissa Smith went from playing time to no playing time. And for some reason, her and Christy Sides didn't get along. But we know her outside personal life with her counterpart, DJ Mustard. So, but I think this season, with the pieces that they have, even the addition of Bree Turner, I do believe that this Indiana Fever team is going to find a way to weather the storm. Let me, one thing before I get into the next clip, I want to caution y'all on something. Every great championship team has controversy or have a controversial player. That does not take away from them to being derailed for winning the ultimate goal, which is a championship. So, and I do believe that the Indiana Fever will weather the storm. Whatever personal thing, they are going to handle it in-house. The one thing that Kelsey Mitchell always said last year is keeping the main thing the main thing. And long as the Indiana Fever keep the main thing, then this team will be golden. All right, now for my next clip.
There's obviously a lot of great things that come with that in terms of publicity, in terms of people being interested, but also, that's a challenge could be a challenge for a coaching staff in terms of all the external stuff. You've dealt with star players before, but just to be very realistic, Stephanie, you've never dealt with this kind of star player. So what are some of your thoughts just in terms of how you manage sort of I don't mean this pejoratively, but the circus kind of around her?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, she does an outstanding job of managing it all. Like she's incredibly humble. She understands the big picture. I think her family. She views it. I think understanding her celebrity, number one, but number two, like she's a Midwest kid, right? Like she's a Midwest person, and she is just who she is, and she tries to live her life in an authentic way. And, but she's very much Taylor Swift 2.0, right? And so I think from my perspective and our staff, in our franchise, it's how do we help her navigate, all of this? How do we help her protect her peace? Cause it can be a lot. And how do we just be a resource for her? It's always a different level now with social media and with the fan engagement and all of the things now. But more than anything, we just want to help be a resource and help protect her. She's an incredible, I call it a kid. I mean, she's obviously a young woman, but she's just an incredible talent. She's an incredible human being. She works her tail off. There's a reason that she is who she is in terms of a player. And she's handled all of this with such grace and poise that most 23-year-olds wouldn't be able to. And so I give her parents a ton of credit. I give her a ton of credit. We just got to help her try to navigate it in the best way that we can. And from a coaching perspective, keep the main thing. Like, look, we want to protect her, certainly, help her protect her peace, and then help her continue to grow on the basketball court, help our team be the best team that we can be, help our players understand that sometimes you got to set it all down. Sometimes you got to minimize the noise around you. And we got to focus on what our job is. And our job is to put the best team and the best product on the floor that we're capable of doing. And I give our front office and management with Amber and Kelly a ton of credit. I mean, they have done an outstanding job in free agency and helping do that. And I think from our coaching perspective, we'll just continue to be very transparent in our communication. We will address elephants in the room. Certainly we're not afraid to do that. If we need to have difficult conversations, we have those difficult conversations.
And that's the main thing. Don't be afraid to have difficult conversations. If you don't have those difficult conversations, sit down and iron things out, the team could easily implode from the inside out. And then guess what? Rumors will start happening. Then you got to think about this. The media gets hold to it. You already see what Cheryl Swoops did last year by saying when the Fever was getting to playoff contention. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden she was like, well, the Fever, there's issues in the locker room. People didn't want to play for the Fever. Kelsey, she think Kelsey Mitchell was going to lead the Fever to go play elsewhere. Now that's what all her hopes. She wanted to have this function inside the Fever locker room, but they kept it together. Despite being a young team, they was able to keep all of that together and fight it, even though having an in-depth coach in Christy Sides, past her prime time GM and Lynn Dunn. You know what I'm saying? This team was able to navigate through all of that and able to exert themselves into one of the top teams that they are now. Because you look at it, going into 2026, almost every top star size rookies are going to be a free agent. There's no restricted free agent. Everybody's going to be a free agent. So a lot of players that signing with these teams now are trying to build a stock for next year. They're not necessarily worrying about probably winning a title, except for you probably think hey, the New York Liberty, the Indiana Fever, the Minnesota Lynx. I don't look at the Las Vegas Aces as a threat. Don't look at them at all. Don't look at Seattle as a threat. I don't look at Phoenix as a threat. They might be competitive this year, but as a threat to win a title, I don't look at that. To me, my top three teams is, and I put it because I rank them because of playoffs. Connecticut is in the bottom because they don't have a team. So I look at the New York Liberty, who won the WNBA title, the runner-up, the Minnesota Lynx. Then you put the Indiana Fever because of what they have done in the off season of both of their team. I put it just like that, 1, 2, and 3. The main thing about this whole situation is that the Fever, my personal feelings, the Fever are not done in free agency. I don't think they're done by a long shot. I think there's still more moves they can make. I think there's still something else. I still feel like this Chrissy Wallace situation is going to get rectified. I think she's most likely to get a buyout or be traded. But this team now has veterans to help guide them through situations because you got DeWanna Bonner, you got a Natasha Howard, you got a Sophie Cunningham. They could bring that. You got a Sid Coaster. They all been there and been in championship games and can help navigate Caitlin, Kelsey, and Aaliyah Boston. These ladies tasted playoffs, but that's just not the only thing. So the main thing is keeping the main thing, and the team will be all right. But like I said, everything looks good on paper, but the execution has to be all on one accord. So that's my time. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I think it's going to be one hell of a ride for this season, to be honest with you. I think we're going to see some stuff. We're going to see some records being broke. We're going to see some things that we probably have not seen in a lifetime with this team. This team could be, to be honest, this team could be like the Chicago Bulls, setting a record on a pace on some things once they start clicking. Mark my words. But until then, like, comment, subscribe. Until the next episode, I'm out.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.